Melissa Crook here, designer for Bello's Designs. Today we're going to have part one of a series of porous tile art. Today we're going to be making the backgrounds for the porous tiles, and in part two we will stamp and create a finished product. So this is an example of one that I've made. This is a larger tile. This is a 6 by 6 inch square, and this is a porous tile. It does not have any kind of glaze or coating on them. You can get these at any tile store, hardware store that sells tiles. And then they can be finished and used as a trivet or just art. So let's get started with the supplies that we need. Today's demonstration, I'm going to be using some littler porous tiles. These are approximately 3.5 by 3.5. We're going to make 4 of them, and my idea is to make one for each season. So for winter, I've chosen to go with blue, and we have Distressed Oxide in Broken China and Distressed Oxide spray in Stormy Sky. You'll need a blending brush, and I have here a Snowflake die cut that I'm going to use as a stencil. For the second one, for spring, we're going to use this is Dilutions. We're going to bubblegum pink, milled lavender distress oxide spray, and in cracked pistachio. For the summer one, we're going to use distress oxides in rustic wilderness, mowed lawn, and twisted citron. Have a blending brush for the greens. For fall, we're going to use a gel plate, and we're going to use Elements by Lavender Stamps in Merlot. We're going to use brush show crystals that have been diluted with water in the violet and in lemon. We're going to use the Squarely gel press. This is the one by Lavender Stamps. You'll also need a fan brush and some water and your brayer. You'll also need a splatter box. This is just an empty box that I have with a piece of paper in it for the springs, just to protect your work surface. Okay. Okay, so for the winter one, I'm going to first use the Broken China Distress Oxide in my blending brush. And I'm just going to give that a nice little coat. So one thing about porous tiles is they will take ink. They will take a lot of ink. You can pretty much use any ink, any water-soluble ink as your background, just as you would paper. But it will soak in a lot. The oxides, whatever the ingredient is that makes the oxidization, the pigment, keeps it more towards the top without soaking in. So we're going to give this a good coat. And then we're going to get our spray box, set our tile inside, and my little die cut here that I'm going to try to use as a stencil. We'll just push that on there. Using the Stormy Sky, give it a good shake. And then just spray it on. Give that just a second to soak in. With a paper towel, I'm just going to blot the stencil up just a bit. Lay that over to the side. Now these do take a while to dry. And the color will fade. So it's okay that I sprayed that 5 or 6 times just so you could see it. So I'll show you what that looks like after that dries. I'll set that off to the side. Okay, and then for our next one, I'm using all spray inks. I'm just going to put another piece of paper in there to cover that up. Okay, so starting with a clean tile and our sprays. We're going to start with the bubblegum pink. And then the Distress Oxide Cracked Pistachio. And I want this one to have lots of texture. But you can see how quickly that just soaked up everything. I'm going to add just a little bit more pink. And it soaks it up. Really quickly. It's like there's not even a need to blot that. It's already soaked up. Okay. And we'll let that one dry. Moving on to the green. We're going to do this one kind of as a blend. And starting with lightest to darkest, we're going to go with the Twisted Citron. And I'm going to work from the side. So I don't think that the blending brush like this doesn't soak it up as quickly as the sprays. The sprays are just really quick and fast. Just going to use the same brush, just wiped it off a little bit. Ink up in the mowed lawn. And we're just going to blend that and as this dries, we might have to go back and forth between the inks. Okay, and then moving on to the Rustic Wilderness. My Rustic Wilderness ink pad's a little drier than the other two. And I'm just going over the edges just to get the entire surface. I'm going to go back to my mowed lawn and just blend that into the Rustic Wilderness. And back into the Twisted Citron. Then I'm just going to spray it just really lightly with just a spritz of spray from water. And you can see how that nice green background. Okay, set those off to the side. Okay, and then for our fourth and final one, we're going to use the gel press. So you're going to ink up your brayer with the Merlot. And just give that a good blend onto your gel press. And because the porous tiles do soak up so much ink, I'm putting quite a bit on there. I'll just give my brayer a quick clean off. And then we have our lemon yellow. Oops. No. And we'll just tap that on. I love brushes, but I make such a mess. Okay, and then this is our violet purple. And we will just sprinkle some of that on. And we're going to just take our tile and just drop it on. Press down. And there you have it. The yellow is really pale, and so is the purple. So you could still, just going to take that gel press and just clean that off. So you can see the difference, how much the tile soaks up the color. Comes out quite a bit different than it just does on paper. I know that this is only a soaks up a lot. So I have this edge here that I'm not fond of. I'm just going to take my ink with my blending brush, and I'm just going to go over the edge. And just darken that up. And I'm just flicking it. Flicking it on. I'll just show you real fast. You can also, instead, if you don't have a gel plate, you can just put your inks on and just do it like you would on your gel press. So I know I'm kind of overlapping the work that I've just done, but I just want to show you what happens, because it still looks like how quickly it absorbs and how much color you can put on here and how much it changes. And they absorb a ton, a ton, a ton. So it makes good for coasters. I mean, it sucks it up as fast as I can put it on there. But I think it's just awesome. It's a great effect. It's so fun. Can't mess it up. And because they hold so much ink, if you don't like it, you can just start over. Like right now, if I didn't like this, I could just take a whole nother swipe of ink and just cover that up and completely change it. You can also just run it under some water. It'll soak in. Your color's almost gone, disappears. So there we have our backgrounds done in real quick time. And come back and I'll show you the next step, number 2, on how we're going to stamp these and make a whole little set of tiles. So you can see the snowflake in the background. This one, lots of color for springtime. Now we got our green for summer and our kind of purple and yellows for a fall theme. All right. So thank you for joining me today. Also, if you don't have porous tiles and you like these backgrounds, you could do the same thing on a card and that would work great. So come back for video number 2, and thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe below, and you can follow a lot more tutorials from our wonderful design team. I'd like to remind you, if you haven't done so already, if you join Facebook, follow us on our Facebook groups. We have Bello's Designs Lounge for Lavender stamps and Bello's Designs a la carte lounge for all the other stamps such as Sweet Poppies, Nellie Choice, and Cardio, and many other products that Patty sells. But thank you again. See you real soon.